Hey
Yep.
guys, we're here today talking about the 1978 Halloween movie directed by John Carpenter.
Starring Donald Pleasance, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Tony Moran as adult Michael. The movie's about a guy named Michael, or a boy, really, who was institutionalized after murdering his sister, and then after years pass, he returns to, murder people. Okay, let's start off with saying things that we like about the movie. Blazon, what do you like about the movie?
Well, that ending scene where what is her name?
Laurie Strode.
Laurie Strode, yes. Where she goes to the house after he has killed the best friend, the horny friend, and horny friend's boyfriend. Was the funniest thing I have seen in a while.
Oh man. Legendary, you can go next. I have a list of things that I really liked about the movie.
Oh boy, where did this start?
My cat's jumping on
music
things.
is fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
John Carpenter, man, he does a great job with his music.
Yeah. John Carpenter in general is just like a triple threat. He wrote, directed, and he composed the music for this movie.
Really?
Yeah. And this movie was done on such a low budget of like $300,000, and half of it basically went into the camera, which was like the most elite camera at the time, Panavision. Yeah. But starting from the beginning, like things that I really like was the opening. Like, I know like one part of it's pretty silly where he like literally looks at his hand when he's stabbing his sister. That part was kind of odd, but the fact that you're just watching this first person point of view, like back then, that's pretty like great for keeping the character secret until they like literally take off his mask and say Michael. And then there's just a slew of questions like, why is this little kid murdering his sister? Why is the mom just like putting her hands in her pockets right after, like, God dang it, he did it again. But that's
the great thing about the movie.
Yeah, it starts off with you asking a lot of questions, and then it does cut
Like,
to the
where did he get
future.
that from? Why did he stab his sister? What actually happened?
Well, if you watch the remake, they kind of try to give him reasoning for killing, but the way they kind of explain it in this one is, and it's his nature, that it wasn't his nature that he did it.
He's mentally ill, and he's
Yeah. So like at the age of 6, he immediately gets institutionalized for 17 years, which
Honestly,
they kind of explain why he waited 17 years in the sequel, so we'll wait till you see that one, Blazon, before we spoil what that one's about. But
hopefully it wasn't as boring as this one.
I don't find it boring because I like the tension building. Legendary, deep breaths, man, deep breaths. But okay, this movie was made in 1978. This was a great movie for the time.
Oh yeah, I kept that in mind. Definitely.
Yeah. Another thing I liked was Laurie's character was actually likable in a horror movie. Horror movie characters are all usually terrible, just so you don't care that they're being completely just butchered. They're usually archetypes or stereotypes.
And she did. But there was a time I wanted her to die because she did a very dumb mistake at the end of the movie. She took her eyes off the body. You never do that.
That's one of the greatest scenes in the movie, though, when like Michael, he just like sits up and then turns his head. I'm like,
It made for a great scene, but realistically, it made her seem extremely dumb. And she's
well,
the smart friend.
yeah, maybe for the time, it might not have been so terrible because even way back then, people were super trusting. Like people, I remember like my like grandparents talking about how back in the day they would leave all their doors unlocked and even sometimes open because they just trusted people, and they just had like this certain sense of security. They had their own sense of security back then. They weren't like mindful like we are now. They haven't seen as many horror movies as we have.
Let me tell you this. She stabbed him in the neck, watched him fall over, then witnessed him get back up from that.
I mean, it was just a little needle prick in the neck.
Watch him again. She watched him stumble back, fumbling at his neck, and then just fall over dead.
Okay, now before we continue to talk more about the ending, another thing that I really liked, which you probably was what you thought was boring about it, was his tactics. The creepy thing about Michael in the whole movie is that he is stalking the heck out of these people and following them everywhere. And then like his demeanor, like he's so careful like about what he does. He just doesn't go in there just slaughtering by the numbers. He went there to stage a scene to like just mess with this girl. It's like it's a much deeper psychopathy than most that are displayed in movies.
Although I will say though that he went after the girl that I did not think he would. I know they introduced Laurie first, but I thought he would go after the girl who screamed at him in the car.
That was hilarious. Like when he stopped in the car, and I was like, I just imagine him saying, "Lord, give me the strength to not get out the car right now and kill this girl." Oh my God.
Oh my God. She's like, I will straight up stab you. You don't even know.
It would have been hilarious if he just like drove the car backward and bumped her a little bit and then drove away.
That's what I thought he was going to do, was go around the block and run them over.
That would have been hilarious, but that would have been a really short movie. Also, like, a fun little fact of trivia, he's like one of the only slasher villains to be like shown driving around in a car. Like he...
That's another point I want to make. Where did he learn how to drive?
They kind of glaze over that in the movie itself. Like Donald Pleasance's character, Sam Loomis, he was like, did somebody teach him? How did he do this?
He said somebody had to.
But
so I mean, somebody taught him how to drive.
Wait till you watch the Cult of Thorn movies.
Oh my God.
That's a 3-part movie arc in the Halloween series. Nobody likes it, but it kind of tries to explain, maybe a little too much. But Legendary, is there anything you want to avidly talk about that you liked in the movie?
You guys covered it.
Pretty much. I do like Michael's kills in the movie, specifically the one where he picks up the dude and then just pins him to the wall. And then, like, looks at him like, wow, I'm capable of that. It's amazing.
My favorite Michael moment wasn't even his kills. It was when the 3 boys are picking on the one little boy with the pumpkin. And then they split up and run away. The one boy ran into him. He just looks at him and just terrifies him to, like, deep to his core.
Yeah, he just looks up.
That was great.
Oh, fun fact. You remember when Michael's, like, unmasked and you see his real face, like, slightly, but it's mostly obscured in shadow? For years after that movie came out, people asked him, or were talking to him all the time about it, like, oh my God, I can't believe how grotesque his face was. Oh my God, how did you create that effect? That's just how that guy's face normally looks. That poor guy is one of John Carpenter's best friends. Oh my God, and he didn't even portray Jason, I keep saying Jason, Michael, until the end of the movie. And there was this other guy named Nicholas something, but he was Castle. He was portraying him like most of the movie, like when he was still referred to in the script as the Shape, because you could never see his mask or his clothes up close. And then the guy totally got
His clothes,
overshadowed.
They never showed his mask.
Yeah, and then he got that snatched away from him when, like I said, John Carpenter's friend walked on set, wanted to watch the filming being done, and they were like, "You have a face of somebody who looks like he's more capable of doing murder."
Ugly face.
Pretty much.
Calling him ugly.
And I like Sam Loomis's character in general. He's just like, this guy is pure evil. He is going to this place. You guys are stupid. How did you let him out?
My biggest thing is, how did he get out? I want the backstory on that.
Rob Zombie's movie.
In the Rob Zombie movie, they kind of show how he escapes, but the whole thing of this movie was mystery and asking questions and suspense. So I don't know, how did he get shot right in the chest a few times and fall out of a balcony, hit the ground, and then get up and disappear? It's supernaturally, that's kind of how it happens in these movies.
I mean, yeah. Extended plot relevance.
Yeah. And
Again, Rob Zombie.
yeah, in general, I do think this movie holds up as a classic. Like, you can see how the archetypes in this movie carried over to other horror movies and have now been perpetuated as stereotypes, but it is a good movie for its time, and it still is a decent movie. You guys agree with that?
Oh yeah.
It's more than decent for me.
Well, yeah, it's more than decent to me too, but like, quality-wise, it's really good, but like, looking at it, you can tell that it has, aged. That's the only drawback. But I'm pretty sure if I watch it again in like a crystal clear Blu-ray copy, I would probably lose that notion entirely. Now. Okay, Blazon, why do you think it was boring?
Well, the first hour was scenes of going between him looking at people, which were actually very good. That drama building, it kind of told you what was going to happen later, but didn't give away too much. And then it got to scenes of 3 schoolgirls walking down the street, 2 old men talking in various locations, and then a shot of a car driving down the street and a lady getting pulled out of a car.
I don't know, I found like that to be... It had good scene flow, like it was just, like, if you pick it apart, it all does lead to the climax. It's not like they were just completely random.
Oh yeah. It was just boring.
I felt like even...
Oh, I mean,
what are you going to say, Legendary?
That's what happens when you make a movie that's the equivalent to the final act of Jaws.
I heard that when he was going to make this movie, he was literally just given the idea. He was like, somebody was like, I want you to make a movie about a guy who stalks and kills babysitters. And then he turned it into this movie. And
Stalks and kills babysitters.
And that's literally what the movie is. He does stalk and kill babysitters.
Yeah.
I mean, tries to kill one.
He did ignore the children.
His motivation is revealed more clearly in the second movie also. And he kills 2 babysitters in the movie. He kills one and then tries to kill the second. And one was the other 2, the 2 quote unquote, as you called it, Blazon, horny ones, were literally just there. They were at the wrong place at the wrong time. I like how when he put when Laurie does walk into the house and sees all the people dead, she does like look, and when she gets to that room, she's like, oh my god, this looks like a Halloween decoration. Like literally, there's the tombstone, there's the dead girl on the bed, and there's like, it looks like there's a pumpkin there on the table and stuff. And
Happy Halloween.
happy Halloween, indeed. And then like the other one is inside the cabinet there, and that's when like the movie gets more intense, and it's literally all there at the end. The end of the movie is what keeps you at the edge of your seat. In the whole first and second act were literally just the tension building. But overall, I appreciate the movie. I do like it a lot. It's probably one of my favorite horror movies. If you saw my top 10 Halloween movies, it's number 1 on the list. What'd you say?
That's a drama. So I wouldn't call it horror. I'd call it suspense. Dark drama, but not horror.
I don't know. It can be categorized, I guess, as a thriller, maybe. I mean, if you look on IMDb, it's like horror, thriller. But okay, what would you guys each rate it? I'd rate it at a decent 4 out of 5.
Taking in the fact that it was made in 1978, low budget, and just the qualms of the time, I'd say maybe a good 7 out of 10.
Okay. Legendary?
It's great. 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5? Okay. We have a 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5, and 7 out of 10. I think those are all fair scores. On
3.5.
on IMDb, it's I think it has like a 7.9 out of 10, like a 78 on Metacritic, and I didn't even check Rotten Tomatoes. Who likes Rotten Tomatoes anyways? Well, our scores all line up pretty well. Oh, and one more piece of trivia. You might like this one, Blazon. Literally, the Myers house that they used in the movie was abandoned at the time, but after the movie was done, it literally ended up becoming a chiropractor's office.
I would not want to work there.
Step inside the old Myers house where we will realign your spine. Oh, and also a couple other fun facts. I'm pretty sure everybody knows that this was Jamie Lee Curtis's first movie, and she's also the daughter of the first girl who was killed in the Psycho movie. So like it was like a good lineage for horror movie genre fans. And also, out of the 3 girls, she was actually a teenager during the production of this movie. The other 2 weren't.
She did look like it.
You said she didn't look like it? Well, in that movie, she literally was the most clothed, the most neatly dressed. And literally, I think in an interview afterwards, John Carpenter said he didn't intentionally want to make the archetype of the virgin being the survivor of horror movies, and it ended up becoming the archetype for the person who survives horror movies. He literally was that's just the idea for the character, the nice girl who is the star of the movie.
She was nice, she was sweet, she was just so dumb.
Well, I think that's a good place to end it. We've rated it. We've discussed some trivia. We went through some of the finer points of the movie. Some of the pros and cons. The only one bringing cons forward was Blazon. Thank you, Blazon. How much hate can Blazon get in the comments below?